let's talk about the NAACP. They are calling for economic boycott in North Carolina over what they say continuing efforts by Republicans to actually rig the vote there. Voter suppression is a major issue. Of course, the House bill that dealt with the issue of transgender bathrooms, plus that same bill, which nobody talks about, prevents cities from passing their own minimum wage laws. Well, this weekend, NAACP had their news conference, and they say it's time to make North Carolina feel the pain.
We have won in the courts. We have won at the ballot box.
Yeah.
And still we have extremists that want to attempt to undermine those victories.
Yep.
And so when you've won in the courts and you've won in the ballot box, sometimes you have to go to the cash register.
Yeah.
To let it be known that we will not go backwards when it comes to voting rights, when it comes to human rights, and when it comes to civil rights.
All right, folks, let's go back to our panel on this particular issue. Look, North Carolina NAACP, others have been involved in massive protests since 2007. They have been mobilizing people. They have been targeting, of course, the Republicans there in North Carolina. As Reverend Dr. William Barber just said, they've been beating back all of these different challenges. They laid out 5 different things they want. They're saying, hey, let's use the power of our dollars. Already, the NBA pulled the All-Star game out of Charlotte. That's when they went to New Orleans this year. The NCAA has made it clear because of the transgender bathroom bill, they're not going to hold any NCAA championship events there as well. North Carolina has already lost billions from other companies. You would think broke folks would realize that it's kind of stupid, the games they're playing there. Eugene, I'll start with you. And Virginia, I love it during the election. Virginia, a Virginia newspaper, in particular, editorial out telling North Carolina, thank you. They endorsed Pat McCrory for governor, saying, please, because you're sending us lots of jobs.
So my issue with this is this. You know, the NAACP in North Carolina chooses to announce the boycott during the biggest black spending weekend in North Carolina. You know, CIAA weekend. You know, the other divisions and the NCAA decided to pull out. The CIAA and HBCUs, who's being affected, whose folk that support these schools are being affected right now, should have pulled out of Charlotte. You know, you don't announce it during CIAA weekend.
But first of all, the announcement. First of all, the announcement was a discussion of a boycott. They have not fully launched an economic boycott. This is the shot.
It's the next step along the.
But this is the shot across the bow. Now, what happens next year for CIAA is a whole different story.
Yeah, you know, I think Reverend Barber right now and his coalition in North Carolina that you call the Mississippi of 2017,
Alabama 21st,
Alabama
and Mississippi,
and Mississippi, take your pick, is the most effective coalition right now out here. And this is a natural progression because you're right. They've won in the courts, they've won at the ballot box, and so now they're going to win with the wallets. These Republicans in North Carolina are special. They are highly resistant. They don't care. They win at all costs. They define the ballot box. They defy the court system. And the wallet piece and boycotting, I hope they do it. You got to be disciplined to do that now because you can ultimately wind up hurting a lot of black people as well. But it's necessary in North Carolina right now.
Yeah, we always hear the theory that, well, black people will get hurt if we do a boycott. We heard that after Trayvon Martin. People wanted to boycott Florida.
We heard the Black Freedom Movement.
We hear that all the time. We're already hurting. I mean, we already got 28% of our children are in poverty. You know, I think we can tough it out. You know, the only thing that people respond to politically is power and money, money and power. That's it. So it would seem to me that a boycott would be a very good idea and a very overdue idea.
We'll redirect that dial to a black business.
Well, it's also about getting this state to understand that, all right, if that's how y'all want to roll, okay, but you're going to feel the economic pain. We saw what happened when the Polaroid workers led the investment campaign, divestment campaign in South Africa. South Africa was brought to its knees economically.
Right.
Okay. North Carolina. Now the crazy folks in South Carolina didn't care when it came to the boycott of the NAACP, when it came to the Confederate flag, and so they still want to wave their flag. North Carolina is a totally different state. The research triangle there. You have different economic factions there, banking as well. I would think that folks there are going to say, okay, the last thing we can do is keep losing billions of dollars in this state. And as Dr. King said on April 3rd, 1968, at Mason Temple in Memphis, it's time to redistribute the pain.
Yep. And just losing the events that would have come to the state over the transgender issue, which is an issue that impacts a lot fewer people than what Moral Mondays focuses on. The voting piece alone impacts thousands. You know, to me, they should go for it. They should go for the full boycott, because the embarrassment alone will cause people to stay away from the state.
And in fact, one of the mistakes that people also keep making, that particular bill was not just about transgender bathrooms. In that bill, they prohibited cities from passing their own minimum wage laws. I thought Eugene Republicans love local control.
Right.
You know, look, I've said it before.
What happened was
North Carolina Republicans are a special breed of folk. I mean,
they're a breed.
I mean, these are the same folk that off their first African American chairman. So Republican chairman. And so, you know, they get no defense out of me.
We got to take North Carolina out behind the barn and just beat them down, what my mother and grandmother used to say. Well, you got to show them.
Getting the governor
because you're telling them isn't enough. And you got to stay organized on the ground. You got to keep winning in the courts and keep winning at the ballot box, and then connect it to the economic issue.
A peaceful protest turned deadly. 37-year-old black man was shot and killed by Baton Rouge police. His hands are in the air, and you still get shot by the cops.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
We're not going to let hate define us.
Race is a big part of this.
If truly all lives matter, then all lives need to matter equally.
What we require is action. What we require is accountability. We understand that black lives do matter, and we will keep focused on this issue.
NewsOne Now, every weekday morning at 7 on TV1.